Hello and welcome to the Box N Life podcast with me, Tony Jeffries, and Glenn, Mr. Six-Figure Holmes. So Glenn gets called Six Figures because he's the most highest earning personal trainer in America. He's earned a fortune. And next to him,
we've got... I'm nothing today.
He's nothing today. He's small change. We've got Mr. Dan Peña, who we could, I suppose, call nine figures. Dan, how's it going, mate?
Well, it's going fine. And they crowned me, Brian Rose crowned me the $50 billion man because I've created $50 billion for people just like you. I don't know about him exactly, but they I
haven't seen any of it yet.
Okay, well I just got here 20 minutes ago.
All right.
And the amazing thing is you went from 820 to $450 million, right?
Correct.
Can you tell me a little bit how that happened, how you went from the ghetto in East LA to earning a shit ton of money?
Well, about 20 miles from here, east, excuse me. I come from the barrio in East LA, and I got in a lot of trouble, arrested 5 times, in jail, etc. And fortunately for me, my dad was a copper, and so they beat me in jail, and then they released me. Then he beat me, and so I joined the military as a 20-year-old in 1966, about 50 years ago. Okay, and because I was either prison or the military.
Yeah.
They used to kind of give you that option in the old days. I'm not so sure they give it to you anymore. And so I went off, and I was as a private, and I came back as an officer. And it was the only high-performance thing I'd ever done. I was a shit athlete, although I used to like to fight. I was a shit athlete, and I wasn't very coordinated. But when I went off to the military, I saw that I could compete. Even though I thought I was a poor athlete, physically I could compete with anybody. And one of my traits was I wasn't afraid, and that's a big plus when they're shooting bullets at you.
Mentally strong, right?
Correct, mentally strong, and that's because of my dad, who was an alpha male hero for real. And so I went off to Wall Street. Where my initial training was. Then I went into the oil business, and I started my own company when the first time oil was at $41 a barrel back in the early 80s, and then it plummeted to $6 or $8 a barrel, depending on the indices you want to measure it by. And I turned the $820 into a $450 million empire where we were in the Gulf of Mexico, South America, the North Sea, UK, the United States, and Canada. And but
that was through the oil?
Oil, refining, marketing, drilling, construction pipeline, and that was my empire that was based in Houston, Texas. We had several thousand employees. We did very, very well.
Wait, so let me get, so it wasn't through the stocks?
No, well, it was, I built the company, then I took it public. I took IPO. Right. I floated it on the London Stock Exchange.
Right.
Okay, and the shareholders all made a lot of money. I made a lot of money.
So I'm just keeping stopping you because I want to understand.
No, understand. Sure.
So you built a company.
Making acquisitions. So I buy an exploration company in Oklahoma. I buy a drilling company in West Virginia. I buy a production company in West Texas. And so I bought a lot of companies,
right,
including in the UK. Because you're too young to remember, but at that time, Mrs. Thatcher was privatizing companies, and they had just discovered oil in the North Sea,
right,
at Argyle. And so I was taking advantage of that boom. And the primary reason that I went to the UK is because exploration, oil and gas were hot in the UK during that time frame, from the late 70s through the middle to late 80s. And so I came over and I saw an opportunity to find things, buy them in the US or buy them in South America, bring them to the UK, take them public, float them, and I did that. And in addition, I also floated them on the Amsterdam Stock Exchange.
So now, how old are you when you were worth 450 mil?
39.
39. How much of that have you still got left? Or have you got more?
Well, I didn't come here to talk about my net worth, but what I'm famous for is after that, I decided that I wanted to, just like your viewers, take kids like yourselves, and I call you all kids because I'm either old enough to be your father or grandfather, take kids and show them how to make millions, tens of millions, and even in billions. And I've created over 50 billion in the last 22 years with kids. In fact, I was talking to you about an Olympian guy, and because of your background, I was thinking about some of the other guys that I've worked with over the years. And it's a very simple model. One of the great myths of life is there's not enough investment capital in the world. That's bullshit. That's not true. Another myth is that the game is rigged against people that aren't part of the financial community. That's not true, because I certainly was. I come from the East LA, the hood, 18, 20 miles from here. And so I've taken that knowledge and I've spread it across, they tell me now I've touched millions of people. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've certainly touched, hundreds of thousands. And the kids have, kids are easier to work with. And by kids, I mean not old people like me, because you don't know. When you were training and the guy's telling you, you want to win a medal, you want to do this, you do this. You did it, right?
Right.
You didn't ask, no, well, the kids are just like that vis-a-vis when you're trying to create wealth. They know that I've created a lot. They know I started with nothing. Well, we got that in common. We both got nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. And you created a lot of money. And now, the last 20 plus years, I've created it with regular people.
Right.
Not just, sophisticated London School of Economics or Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard kind of guys. I've created with just regular guys.
Right.
And that's just through mentorship, right?
Correct.
Business,
Correct.
Business
Correct.
advice.
And all my stuff, guys, is free on my website. I don't sell anything. I give it all away, much to the chagrin of all the other guys that are in the business. I give it all away because I don't want you to use an excuse, well, Dan's stuff is so expensive I can't afford it. So I give it away the last several years. The only thing that I don't give away is if you want to come to my very exclusive training program that I have at my home, Guthrie Castle in Scotland, and then I give you the 1-year mentorship for free afterwards. But 99.999% of all the people that have made money with QLA, I've never met, talked to, Skyped, Facebooked, nothing. I wouldn't know if they came in here and they pissed on my foot. I wouldn't know them. I don't know them.
So when you say you do your mentorship at your castle, right? It's at your home in Scotland. What exactly? First, who comes to that, and what exactly do they get? It's a week course, if I'm correct, right?
8 days. 8
days. So what are the gigs? It's 10 grand as well, right?
Pounds sterling. Yeah.
No,
it's actually 12. Okay, 12 sterling. First of all, we get a lot more people that apply for the course than we take. We take between 20 and 24 every other month, basically. But we have hundreds that apply. So we look at your background. We look at you now. If you, it's not that we exclude rich people, because we don't do that. But if we try our best to take the people that, based on our experience of the tens of thousands that we've trained, that are going to benefit the most.
Right.
Okay. It's like somebody comes into your gym here. You've got an eye. Well, he's got talent, or he doesn't have talent, right?
Yeah.
And even though you want to help the guy that doesn't have any talent, but, if this guy got a shot, does he this? Can he get a medal? So we want to mix. We want to mix of the people that have no talent, and we want to mix of adding some people that have some real talent. And currently, one of my devotee mentees is the sitting governor of Florida. Rick Scott was my lawyer. I trained him 30 years ago. I mean, we've got, some pretty illustrious luminaries, but we've also got guys that have kebab shops in Manchester. We've got guys,
So when you say train them, it's all a mental game, right?
Well, no, but we give them the templates, the letters, the emails, the instructions how do you build a dream team? How do you find somebody to be your permanent mentor after my year of mentorship's over? How do I go and find companies to buy? But the primary thing is you got to come with a dream. You got to come with a passion.
Right.
And if they fill out the paperwork and it's obvious there's no passion, I don't know how long you wanted to go to the Olympics or if you ever wanted to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
But, it's like, guys that say, for 20 years, I want to go get a medal or I want to do this, I want to do that. So we want people that have that passion because 12 or 15 hours a day working becomes stressful when you don't like what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, after 3 hours a day it becomes stressful if you don't like what you're doing. And I just told you the story. My wife and I went on a cruise for 10 days. I didn't leave the boat one time in 10 days. I didn't get up in the sun for one time in 10 days. The only two things I did, I worked out twice a day in the gym, and I worked, 8, 9, 10, 11 hours a day in our suite because I love what I do. I enjoy being the most successful high-performance coach on the planet. I enjoy that. I mean, my wife, if she was who's English, who you know, who's from Yorkshire, she would say that, if it came down between Dan being the best high-performance coach on the planet and me, I wouldn't like to ask him to make that decision, because it's really important to me.
Yeah, you love it. What would you say the biggest thing is? What you see with the average person when they're not successful? What's the biggest thing that they do wrong?
It's the stuff between their ears, because they have lived through listening to conventional wisdom. That's not for me. You come from Manchester, you come from Liverpool, you come from, in my wife's case, Yorkshire. I mean, kids from those places, unless they're born into money or unless they go to the best schools, aren't meant to be this high-performance person.
We were just talking before this about how from where we're from, you're told that you're kind of encouraged that you're nothing.
Yeah.
Unless you do things a certain way, then you're not.
Schools. We were talking. We've done a podcast on education, and schools don't give people the confidence to go out there and do their own thing. They don't. You think that you're going to do what your parents do, which 9 times out of 10 or 99 times out of 100 is just go and work for someone else and do that rather than getting your own business. You haven't got the confidence to do it.
Yeah,
right.
And you don't have the self-esteem. And, you don't have the self-esteem because your parents didn't have the self-esteem.
Right.
And their parents didn't have the self-esteem.
Yeah.
It's like when I first came to the UK in the early 80s, coal mining was a big deal. And Mrs. Thatcher was phasing everybody out of it. But there were 3, 4, 5 generations of families that worked in the coal mines.
Yeah.
If your dad worked in the coal mine, you were going to work in the coal mine, okay? Of course, now the coal industry is all dried up in the UK, so those people have had to go find other jobs. But just think if those people had been told 40, 50 years ago, you don't have to be a coal miner.
Yeah.
You can be whatever. You can go to school, and the educational system is pretty good in the UK. And there are opportunities available for you to break out of those molds. It's like I come from East LA, the barrio, the hood as it's called. I was telling my driver when we were driving over here, he said, I told him I was coming here. And he saw how I was dressed. Did you forget your suit bag, or are you going to? No, I'm not going to fight there. I said, I'm going to talk to this guy. And he said, we started talking about where I was from. And I said, I'm from East LA, And he said, you're from the hood, the neighborhood, the hood. I said, yeah. And so, but if I had thought like my cousins and all their uncles and aunts, etc., like they did, I would have probably stayed in East LA. And I wouldn't have been where I've been and had the success that I've had. And but my parents didn't have any goals for me other than to keep me alive until I reached the age of reason, because I got in so much trouble. When I was 9 years old, I tried to kill my 5th grade teacher.
Wow.
9, 10 years old. I'm not proud of this. I'm just telling you the story to show you how far I've come. I don't even remember what he did to me now. But from the 2nd floor of the grammar school, I was just big enough to be able to pull this fish tank, like this, up over the window, and I waited for him to walk beneath me, and I dropped it. Now, if that guy had not moved about 6 inches, because I hit him in the collarbone and shattered his shoulder, but if I had hit him in the head, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Yeah.
I'd probably still be in prison for that. But that's the kind of stuff I did because all the other guys. And as you well know, I mean, I enjoyed being considered the tough guy,
right.
And wrongly. I'm not suggesting any of you should be tough guys, wrongly. And so we get down the wrong paths, and we start taking. Once you've made bad choices, you continue to make bad choices.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to get off that. And what we teach people at the castle is how to change those habits. Motivation gets you going. Good habits keep you going. Jim Ryan, the great miler, who never won a gold medal in the Olympics for the 1,500 meter, told me about 40 years ago, Dan, habits get you, keep you, or motivation starts you, but good habits. But it's like, it's like training. If I didn't train as much as I did, I'm 70 years old, I wouldn't look like I look. And I don't feel 70. People tell me I don't look 70. and I can normally work people a lot younger than me into the ground, but I've been doing it for almost 50 years now.
Yeah, non-stop, just keeping it going.
Non-stop.
I really feel like, Dan, I feel like you're a rare breed. You know you're a rare breed because by the sounds of it, you've come back from this background that hasn't been great and with no motivation, no one for you to look up to, but somehow you've got out of the mold yourself. How do you get out of that? You know, how do you break free? How does your mind tick to get out of that?
I did have a role model. My dad was an alpha male cop that used to, if they beat me at school, and back in those days you could beat kids in school. You can't do that. I'm not suggesting you should beat them, but if the teachers beat me, my dad said they only caught you for this, so I'm sure you did this, so I'm going to beat you too. Okay. I had dinner last night with my kid brother. My kid brother is the number 2 guy in the LA County Fire Department. He's the second highest guy in the largest fire department in the world. And he says, if he were sitting here, Chief Peña, if Dad had beaten me as much as he beat my older brother Danny, I would have been more successful. But as my dad got older, he got loosened up on being so tough on the kids. And but he was a strict disciplinarian. He was extremely strict, and I'm glad. But I didn't like it at the time, and I rebelled, and that's why I left to go, off into the military when I was 20 years old, instead of sitting around and drinking.
So
beer.
how does that translate from getting beat up off your dad to becoming?
Because I didn't want for what he thought of me to come to fruition. When I started getting big awards back in the early 80s, and they'd be interviewed on television, and they'd ask my father, you must be very proud of your son, Dan, blah, blah, blah. And my dad would look right into the camera, and he'd say, my son is successful not because of me, but in spite of me. And most people that are watching this, they've had any success that isn't because of their parents. It's in spite of their parents, because they went against the grain. Because most parents want you to be what they are or were, because they want you to have a safe job. I just had coffee with a doctor before I got here, a surgeon from Orange County, and he's where 99% of the people, he makes 7-8 figures. 99% of the people would cut a deal with the devil today, to make that kind of millions a year. Yeah. But he's not happy. He's not happy because he knows he's capable of being more than that. I'm just a goddamn surgeon that cuts on 40, 50 people a goddamn week, and I get paid a lot of money for it. But what am I really capable of? And he wants to be all that he can be. And
what's your advice to that then?
Pardon?
What's your advice to him?
Well, my advice to him is, because I've worked with a lot of physicians, a lot of doctors, is what are you passionate about? Yeah. And his passion isn't the cutting he does. His passion is he would like to buy hospitals and make them more efficient and deliver better health care for less money. Okay? Right. And so we're going to, if he continues to listen to me, we're going to buy hospitals, and we're going to do exactly what he wants. And because the healthcare system in this country, in the United States, is all screwed up. Whereas I'm not saying the NHS is perfect, but the NHS is better, in my judgment, because I lived there for the last 30 years, than the system that we have here. Right.
What advice can you give to someone? What's your greatest advice to give to someone who's wanting to do it and change their life?
Well, there's 2 things. Number 1, you are who you hang around with. If you go to the pubs and belch and fart with your buddies, that's what you're going to be 20 years from now. And you are who raised you. The average of the 5 people that raised you, that's normally your mom, your dad, your older brother, an aunt, uncle, a grandparent. None of those people were trained to produce high-performance kids. Nobody. Right. Unless you're Agassi and Steffi Graf's kid, both world-class athletes, okay, the chances are that your parents didn't know shit about producing one. They knew how to produce you because, that's easy. But they didn't know how to train you to be all you can be and to be world-class. And most people understand world-class in athletics, okay? Right. They don't understand that same world-class is possible in everything you do. I'm the same on camera and as off camera. I devote about 30% or 35% of my time pro bono. I do it for free because I want to see, I don't like the term give back. That's, to me, is phony. But I want to assist other people the same way that I was assisted.
Right.
And the system that I've seen that works, which is very much contrary to all the other success guys, which I don't consider myself, is the mentorship, where somebody mentors you. So you find somebody that is where you want to be and has accomplished all this, either man or woman, and then you find them and you come to them with your dream and your passion, and assuming the chemistry's right, and it's not always right, the rest is history. And what we teach people at the castle is, how do you find that person?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's not so easy. How do you find that person?
That was my next question.
Okay, and it's like the Tyson-Gus D'Amato deal,
Yeah.
Okay, Tyson, by accident, with the greatest respect, Mike, found that guy when he was 13, 14 years old, when he was, doing all kind of ugly things. Not dissimilar to myself, about the same age.
Yeah.
And Gus mentored him and tutored him. And then Mike will admit, I guess, I don't know, I've never talked to him about it, when Gus died and all that stuff happened, he made some he made some very poor decisions. So you got to find that person. And you don't just, you're not just going to find them, walking down the street, on the high street. I mean, you have to make a concerted effort to find somebody that you look up to. And normally that person is several years older than you, but they're successful in what you want to do. If you want to be an Olympic athlete, you don't go to somebody that is a junior high school, let's take you an example, a junior high school in boxing and a junior high school rowing coach.
Right.
Yeah. You go to somebody that knows what they're talking about. And that's why in American sports, so many of these big-time universities continue to produce the world-class athletes year after year after year in basketball and football, because the kids know, University of Alabama, University of Southern California, Notre Dame have produced great American football teams for 80, 90 years. So why would I go to West Texas, Episcopal, blah, blah, and think that I was going to become a world-class footballer when I can go to one of these schools? Of course, you have to have the skill sets to do that, and you have to train, and that's your goal, and that's your objective. So we show people how to do that, and more importantly, in the last 10 or 15 years, because we have so many examples of success now. I mean, what do you want to be successful in? I want to be successful in tennis, okay? So we have guys that have done it in tennis. What do you want to be successful? I want to be successful in making movies. What do you want to, and because we've got this great plethora of success stories now, because most people in the early days of my coaching, they'd say, well, I can't be Dan. I don't have his communication skills. I don't look like Dan. I don't sound like Dan, et cetera. Okay. But now we've got 300,000 or 400,000 kids that have been successful, and they can't all talk. Very, very, very few of them can talk like me. Very few of them look like me, sound like me. And so now, but there's somebody that you can relate to.
Right.
And I was talking about, when Olympics, and I thinking back about the Olympians that I've worked with, and whether you're a world-class basketball player, and I was talking about the Lakers. So we've got somebody in just about from A to Z that we've helped train. And so we've made the job easier for you to find the mentor that can help you. We've got some world-class, I thought until I met you, physical fitness guys. And we've had, a number of, doctors, psychiatrists, lawyers, you name it. And we've had them come through the program.
You've just said there about if you wanted to go to the Olympics for boxing, you wouldn't go and see the rowing coach. Why wouldn't an Olympian come and see you to get mentally strong or whatever?
They do. Well, they have.
Yeah. But like you have more experience in that field. So what is it that you can give to these guys?
Well, the thing that I do, and some people say I'm the best on the planet, is I know how to get your head screwed on straight.
Yeah.
Because I was all fucked up.
Right.
Okay. I mean, how many kids are trying to kill their fucking teacher when they're 9, 10 years old? You know,
Yeah.
you can't get much more.
Messed up.
Messed up. You can't get much more messed up than that, especially when your dad is a high-profile cop.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
I mean, what the hell?
Have you ever done any work in prisons, trying to help them guys?
Yes, I have.
Did it work?
Yes. And we did it for free. But the kid, I'm told, I don't know if this is true, some of the guys used what I taught them, or what mentees of mine taught them, to figure out how to bust out of prison, how to, create more drug traffic in prison and stuff like that. And so the program ended abruptly.
I bet. Dan, what would you say your daily routine now compared to, say, 20 years ago, 30 years ago? How much has it changed?
It hasn't. It hasn't changed 10%. For example, this morning, I think I got up at 7:30. I went to the gym. Today I did 40 minutes of cardio. I came back. I answered emails. At 11 o'clock this morning, I had a Zoom call, which is like a Skype call, with a group of mentees from, I think, June 2015 seminar. There's about 20 guys and gals, and we go through the progress they made. In addition, so we have monthly conference calls, video calls. We also have weekly reports where you have to send me weekly report of what you do daily,
right,
hour by hour, you know. And
you read all of them?
I read them.
How many of them have you got to go through?
I have about 120 that I read a month.
Wow.
A week, 4 times, 4 weeks. So I read about 500 reports a month.
So you see what people do daily?
Yeah, and I'd say, oh, Jeffries, I mean, you want this, and what kind of shit is this? How can you, these two don't equate? I mean, who you bullshitting, kid?
Yeah.
You know.
So from there, you'll read these notes or diaries.
Weekly reports that are kept daily, and that you send me at the end of the week. In fact, today's the day they send them to me, and then I get back to you in the next 48 hours, and I comment on them.
120 of them.
120.
So have you got someone who helps work with you on
that?
No,
I'm the only one that reads the reports.
You do it all yourself?
All myself.
So
because
you type the emails as well?
Oh, yeah. The emails, okay, let's say there's 70 things you got to fill out in a week. And so I go through, the first 18 are fine. And then number 19, I said, who you bullshitting? I said, do this. And then you go through, and then another 18. You don't do everything wrong. Now, some of the kids do every single thing wrong.
Right.
I mean, they're really fucked up ones. I mean, the suicidal ones that ought to eat a bullet, out of 80 things, they do 69 wrong. Okay? But normally, the kids don't do everything wrong.
Right.
Although we do have some.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some. And we had a kid from Australia. He was 6'8". We measured him. He grew an inch during the seminar. Okay, he ate 10 to 12,000 calories a day not to lose weight.
Wow.
Okay.
Was he fat or big?
No, I mean, like him.
Really?
6'9". Okay, and his father was 6'11". His kid brother was 6'10", and his sister was 6'8".
Wow.
And
his sister was 6'8".
Huh? 6'8".
Wow.
And when he came to over the holidays to the castle, he wore the same suit, and I mean the suit like this. And I said, Fabian's his name. Fabian, have you measured? He said, no, I don't like to measure myself, Mr. Peña. It depresses me because I can't stop growing. He's 22.
Wow.
And I said, God, I'd love to be 6'10", Jesus Christ. Anyway, but and when I was a badass, people would have to pay me money just to look at me if I was 6'10".
Yeah.
I could get in a lot of trouble at 6'10", for sure.
Did you make him cry?
Oh yeah, Fabian cried.
Because Dan was telling us that you've made a lot of grown men cry. Right?
I've made them. I don't make anything. They do it themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
They've shot themselves.
Hang on. They've shot. You've made
someone shit their pants.
I think said shot.
No, shot them.
Yeah.
Do they understand shat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They shit themselves. Okay. They've pissed their pants. Okay. They've cried. They've passed out in the seminar. Brian Rose, London Reeler, cried. He went back to his room and collapsed on the floor